This is verse 15 of the 15th chapter of the Gospel of John. Jesus, of course, has been pressing home to his disciples the fact that, in a sense, they're having a kind of promotion of their status. And, of course, this verse is going to drive that point even more firmly into their minds. But Jesus has already said to them that he is loving them with the same quality of love that the Father has had for him, for Jesus, and he also commands them that they should love one another with the same level of intensity of commandments. And then to give some additional weight to what he's saying, he gives us this rather well-known statement. So we have uketi, which is an indeclinable adverb. It means no longer. So no longer, lego, from lego, I say, first person singular, present active indicative. So no longer I say you, literally. Now here, of course, we're going to imply this is a verb that would take a direct object. So no longer I say to you or tell you or call you would be the idea of it. And then doulos, the accusative plural of doulos, which means a bondservant. It's really the most extreme form of slavery in the ancient world, the word that communicates that. So no longer do I call you slaves, even though he had used that term, and of course it was a term that would be perfectly appropriate for these who have been enlisted in his service. But now this kind of promotion is going to take place because he says hoti, which means because, ho doulos, because the slave, uk, the negation oiden, from edo, I see or I know. In this case, it's the third person singular, aorist, or perfect active indicative, because the slave does not know. And then te, the interrogative pronoun, which is in the neuter here, so it's going to be translated what, as if proposing a question, although in this case it's not a question exactly, but it has that sense to it. So because he does not know what, poie, from poieo, I make or I do, third person singular, present active indicative, does not know what he does. And then putting this up front to give it additional emphasis, the possessive pronoun, the of him, and then hokurios, the Lord or the master. So I'm no longer calling you slaves, because a slave, by the nature of the case, doesn't know exactly what his master is doing. And then putting emphasis on it, humas, the second person pronoun in the accusative plural, you, de, soft conjunction, ereka. This is from ereo, which means to say. It's roughly synonymous to lego, but is often used in the perfect as we have it here. So this is the first person singular perfect active indicative. But you, I now call the word philus. This is from philos, which means a friend. It's derived from philae, to love in a friendship sort of way. So you I now call friends. And then once again, hoti, which is the same as here. It means because. Panta, all. And then it goes along with ha, the relative pronoun, which is in the accusative plural, so all the things. And it's the direct object of akusa. So all the things I heard or have heard. First person singular, aorist active indicative of akuo, I hear. So everything that I have heard, para, in this case with the genitive, means from. So para to patros, from the Father, mu, the possessive pronoun of me. And then egnorisa. This is from gnoridzo. It's derived from gnosko, of course, but it has the idea of to make known. I've made known something to someone. Disclosed it would be the idea of it. That's the notion here. So it's the first person singular, aorist active indicative. I have made known humen to you, the second person plural dative pronoun. So everything that I have heard, everything that has been disclosed to me from the Father, I have now made known to you. And of course the implication of that is by so doing, he has elevated them from the status of being slaves who are simply, in a sense, functional. They just go and do what they're told without necessarily knowing why or needing to know why. But now some greater insight has been communicated to them. And of course we can say something of the same thing with respect to anyone who is a follower of Christ, that by virtue of the Scriptures and the disclosure of God's purposes therein, we also have this capacity of regarding ourselves not so much as slaves, although that certainly is part of what we regard as our purpose, but even as friends, carrying out and participating in the purposes that Christ has disclosed to us.